Good morning, John. Nope. No.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
You're
John.
on Canadian time.
I am, yes. How are you today?
We're good. The sun is shining, as always in England.
I know. It's very rarely not shining.
Very rarely not.
What have you got in front of us? This is different than anything we've ever seen you bring in.
Well, it has been noted for the last 5 of these programs that all I've shown is Spanish Napoleonics, and it might be getting a bit dull. So I've got this fella instead. Now, this fine fellow is a maquette being a small, either scaled up or scaled down version of what an original or an eventual model will look like. If somebody's doing a statue in your town centre, they'll make a maquette, i.e. a very small model, to show everybody what it's going to look like. This fellow, a French Foreign Legionary from about, I don't know, perhaps 1920, thereabouts, was made by an airfix sculptor to show what the final model would look like. So this chap is sculpted in out of putty and little metal parts, constructed and painted to show the sales teams and the marketing teams what the eventual model would look like. This was this actual kit was released in the early 70s, I believe, and the actual soldier would be 54 millimeters tall. So this is 2 or 3 times the mass of the eventual soldier you could buy. And now choosing a French Foreign Legion soldier may seem a bit odd in 2025, are we, or 4? I can never remember.
Very
4.
close to 5.
Close to 5. Because people say, what on earth would you want a model of the French Foreign Legion for? Well, when you were a kid, when I was a kid, everybody knew who the French Foreign Legion were because there was a whole load of films made in the 20s, 30s, 40s, even 50s, various remakes of Beau Geste. And they were quite the fighting men to look up to. Still are, by the way, if you see what the modern French Foreign Legion get up to. But I went to an auction house up in up north a few years ago and bought some original Airfix art, some of the Ray Cross artwork, which many of you will know. And then I happened to see this fellow and had to guess what he was. And I checked, and yes, indeed, this was the original model that they worked on to get the likeness for the French Foreign Legion. And he's shown been knocked around the last 50 years. He's lost half his rifle, which is a shame. But he's got his boots on, his classic blue jacket, the Labelle rifle, and a large water carrier there, and some straps to make I think it would be for making some sort of shelter in the sun, with his pack here and his blankets, and of course he's got the classic white kepi and the neck shade there. So I think he's rather a splendid fellow. So very proud of picking this one up. So I know others must exist around the world, not this one because this only made one, but somebody else must have all the other maquettes around the world. So I don't know if anybody's got any pictures. If so, show them off. Yeah.
But thank you so much for bringing him in to show us. It's definitely something different than we've seen.
Yeah, I like him.
I like him too. Is that everything you got for us today, or?
It's funny you should say that. Aha, it's an ambush. It's yet more Spanish Peninsula. I couldn't help myself. Last weekend, when I had a few hours to spare, I got another unit of Spanish guerrillas. They're partisans that caused so much trouble to the French in Spain over all those years. Being irregular troops, you can paint them whatever colour you want, really. Quite bright. These are a lot of gypsy styles and here, and lots of headscarves, lots of loose flowing robes. The odd priest in there, a nice lady with a blunderbuss type gun there as well. But you can really go to town with painting them. I think the leader here is a gentleman in boots and a proper coat. Some of them double armed with pistol and musket or shotgun. I think they've been a lot of fun, so I've enjoyed those. I've got 3 units of the guerrillas now. So I use them as skirmishers generally. And then I realised with my, about to make my 12th battalion for the Spanish, I realised I had absolutely no brigade commanders and no general. And so I just raided the French generals that we do, and painted them with similar where they've got very similar clothing to the Spanish generals. And at one point, some of the Spanish generals would wear blue, but I painted those up, these guys. They look very splendid, having fun with the horses here. And then Dave in our accounts office reminded me that we actually did a splendid pack of Spanish generals, which I'd missed. So I've got to get together our spiffy Spanish general, his dashing aide-de-camp, and a couple of brigade officers there. So this is my Spanish command now, and it means I can command my 7 brigades and have a general as well. So mission complete on the Spanish. So I don't think I'll be boring you anymore with Spanish. But then there's Portuguese out there. So
we'll believe it when we see it, John.
You shall. Next time, thanks for watching.
Thanks so much, John.